Hello and welcome back to another VMK in the game development series. In this VMK I'm going to show you where we're going to be heading in the next mini-series. And this is the very beginning of the mini-series, so this is a good place to show you what we're going to achieve once we get to the very end. This mini-series is going to be focused on the GUI, or in other words, the graphical user interface. I created a flowchart showing the overall structure of the navigation that we're going to incorporate into our game engine. So let's go take a look at that. What we currently have is we start the program, which puts us into our game state called starting. Here is where we have our splash screen, and then 7 seconds later, or if you press a key, we'll go into something called the menu. From this menu, we'll have some choices. We can either quit the game, which will actually end our application, or we can go into an options menu where we can set a couple of things in here. We'll have a back button from the options menu to return us back into the menu, and also from the menu we can go and start a new game. As soon as we click start a new game, we're going to go into a transitionary state called game state loading. Here's where we're going to be loading in all the resources and things that are going to be visible inside of our level. So we're not doing that right now, because if you take a look inside of our scene initialize, we do all of our loading in there, and that gets called whenever we start our application. So we're going to be changing that so that it only gets loaded in whenever we actually start the game. Before then, we only load the resources that we need to have the GUI working. Alright. After the loading is done, it will automatically transition us into our game state play. And this is where we're going to be rendering our 3D world and all of our objects and everything like that. From here, if we press escape, we're going to go into another menu, and this is going to be the pause menu, where we're going to set our state to game state pause. And from here, we can return back to the game, exit the game, or go into another options menu. In this options menu, we'll have some options that we can change during gameplay. They're going to be a little bit more limiting than these options here, but they'll be available to you so that you can tweak things while you're playing the game. Again, we'll have a back button to return us back from our pause options menu back to the pause state, and then from here we can go back into our play mode. And also, I don't have it drawn on this figure here, but at any point in time when we're in game state play, we can also bring down the console window and press Q, or type in quit, or type in exit, at which point we'll be exiting the game. So this is the overall structure that we're going to be achieving. Now let me go and run the completed program to show you what it's going to all look like. So I'm just going to run our game engine, and you've already seen this. We have our splash screen, which shows up on the screen. We can press a key. Here's our introductory menu. So this menu corresponds to this state here, game state menu. We have start a new game, options, and quit. And notice we have our custom cursor built in. We can control things. And we have these buttons here, which we can move our mouse over top of, and then they'll highlight. So we're going to be incorporating these GUI elements in this mini-series. Under the options, we're going to have a bunch of things in here. So we can set the resolution that we want our program to run at. We have a viewing depth, so we can specify how far or how close to render objects in the screen. We'll have the image quality. So we can specify whether our images that we're loading are going to be loaded into memory as low, medium, high, or high. So these are the 4 quality levels that you've seen before inside of our code. Now we're actually going to link those in with this control slider here. We have an invert mouse checkbox here, which we can toggle on and off. And we also have mouse sensitivity. So by changing this, we can change the sensitivity of the mouse. And all these GUI elements we're going to be building in here. We have static text, which is part of the GUI as well. So these things here are not images, they're actually text, which is part of the GUI. We have radio buttons, which we'll be building in here. We have sliders, which have free sliding range that stop sliding once they get to the ends. We have fixed sliders, so these only slide over the fixed regions that we specify. We have checkboxes like so. And then we have general items like images. These little items here are just small images that I display on the screen. So we're going to build all these GUI elements. Now when we click back, we can go and click on the Start New Game, and I don't know if you'll be able to see this in the video, but as soon as I click this, the screen is going to go black, and in the bottom left-hand corner it will say Loading. When it's done loading everything, it's going to automatically go into game state. And this happens relatively quickly because currently I'm not actually loading very many items into memory. So that loading screen only shows up for like a fraction of a second. But there it was, and now we're inside of our game, so we can go around moving, standard stuff. And again, we have our console, which shows up on the screen, and my cursor shows up when the console is visible. While we're in here, if I press the escape key, we go into this menu here, which is equivalent to the pause state over here. And from here we can go and click on continue, which brings us back into the game, or we can click options where we have our pause options. And in here we can change our view depth again. We can invert our mouse if we wish, or we can change our mouse sensitivity. The other options, which was loading the images and the resolution, we can't change during gameplay because that would actually require us to destroy this window and recreate it. As well as for the images, it would actually require us to destroy all of our images and reload them from memory. So I didn't incorporate them into the pause menu. And from here, if we wanted to exit back to the main, we can click on exit, and we're back inside of the main menu. And from here we can also start a new game again, or we can just quit our application. So that's where we're going to be going in this next series of VMKs. There's quite a bit of work to get all these GUI elements working, but as you saw, things will look pretty slick once everything's implemented. So that's it for this video, and if you're enjoying my video tutorials and you can support my website, you can do so by donating money using the PayPal icons. You can buy a membership by clicking on here, or you can go into the store and buy any of the items that are found in there. If you don't have any money to donate or to purchase things, you can also help me out just by using the Google search button found at the top here, or by clicking on any of the Google ads. So that's it for this video, and join me for the next one where we're actually going to start working with the GUI elements.